Hello everyone, Xandero Gaming coming at y'all with another video, and in today's video we are doing a gameplay commentary over our week 5 locals for Union Arena. And in this first matchup we got the Muzan versus a Blue JJK deck. The Muzan player on the right is the Muzan player who won our locals last weekend with this deck list, so definitely a really strong list for sure. Both players being able to start off with a 0-drop. The Blue JJK able to get down the Yuji and the Nobara, and then the Muzan player able to drop 2 more 0-drops, which is exactly what you want to see early in this deck, being able to get some of those characters down so you can cycle in through the deck. Tapping 1 on the Blue JJK player here, or the... thinking about his play here. Just going to drop down the Gojo. And looks like he's thinking about dropping down another Gojo, maybe on the front line to, try to stifle some of this early damage he's going to take. But he's putting it on the back here, foregoing putting a blocker out so that way he could stop this free attack coming through probably on this turn. But he does have a pretty healthy energy line now, so if he does hit anything in security, or in life, too much Digimon, he'd be able to raid. But here we go, we see the Muzan player able to play his option card to pop the body, lets him draw a card, lets him be able to draw and trash a card. Really good cycling for the deck to get the cards in the trash, and then able to play the small body to draw one, trash one, and then that card gave him back the action point. I think that's just what he's going through here. I think he forgot to put it up, but that card does give him back that action point. Is going to play the Muzan, which I think is the most important card in the deck. It is really strong, letting you be able to pop your bodies, get their undeletion effects, and then, cycle into your plays a little bit more here. Big turn for him here. Nice, getting to play 2 of these Muzans. So he is set up pretty good. He's going to get to pop the body here. That lets him, mill a card from the top of his deck, and he gets to draw a card. And he has 2 bodies out, so hopefully as the Blue JJK player, you're able to, do something to this board, right? Because you don't want to let him get these free swings in early. Does tap the action point to draw a card, and then is going to go into the Sukuna here. I've not seen him play the Blue JJK deck. This might be the first time he's played it, so he's just reading his effect here, deciding to tap down one of the Muzans, and then gets to look for a finger, I believe, and he did not see a finger here, so unfortunate. Going to use the domain expansion to go back to the 2 action points. I think the Muzan player might be a little frustrated with his hand here, not able to see maybe some of the cards, but I think he's had a pretty decent start in the game, to be honest. But is just going to play down the Yuji in the back, maybe going to pressure another Sukuna here. Oh wow, another domain expansion, 2 in 1 turn. He's absolutely popping off for sure, getting to go back up. This is like taking 2 full turns once again. So going to go into the Sukuna here. This is a different Sukuna, so I guess if he's playing both these Sukunas, then that means that we should not see that Searcher Yuji. Is going to play down the Shrine, going to get to swing in, no trigger on that body, and then another no trigger. Very unfortunate there to get no triggers in the life. Now he is facing the 2 big bodies on the board. Is going to use his prostate yourself in front of me, or whatever that card is, kneel before me. I actually really like the wording on the card. A little awkward to say, but really cool being able to let you kill a card to kill one of your opponent's cards. Is going to play another one here. No, this is the one where he gets to kill his to cycle. He is going to get the action point back. He does get to draw 2 cards. So cycling through his deck, his graveyard is really, really full. And he does see another kill spell, being able to allow him to draw a card and just trade bodies. So good start for both players here for sure. The Blue JJK player is just taking another draw. We do see, I think that's the color trigger Yuji in his hand, and maybe a couple of shrines. So missing some bodies. Probably going to be in life then, right? Like if you're this far into your deck and you haven't seen a ton of bodies, fortunate enough to see those Sukunas early, but maybe stalling out a little bit here. Is going to move up the 2 bodies. I think that this is the right play to apply a little more pressure to your opponent. is going to play the Nobara that lets him cycle, and lucky enough he sees another Sukuna here. He does have the Yuji in the hand, but like we said, that is the color trigger Yuji, so he may be out of plays here. Another domain expansion. Wow, he played his third one. That's crazy. We're letting him play the Yuji here, which is going to let him bounce a card back to the hand. I do believe so. Oh, he may not have any fingers in his hand to hit the big bodies, but fortunate enough he is able to hit that because that card's not very high BP. No trigger, but is able to see the Muzan, but really unlucky here, seeing no good triggers in his life on the side of the Muzan player. This deck does run a lot of triggers, that is for sure. So very unfortunate for him to see all those drops in the life, because those are the cards that you want in your hand that let you cycle through the deck a lot faster. So maybe he was just bricked up with a lot of these Muzans in his hand, because I think that's the third or fourth one we've seen him play now, right? Those Muzans that let him cycle his characters. So probably just not able to see the smaller ones, and if you can't do that in this deck, you're not able to really, you know, get a lot of your cards cycled through that you want to see, right? Like, you want to draw some cards, you want to trash some cards for sure. Alright, on the Blue JJK, we just see him drawing the card, going into the Yuji, lets him be able to bounce a character back to the hand, and going to play the Sukuna here. He does have the energy for it, I think, because, yeah, the Gojo is 2, and he gets the energy from the Shrine and the Nobara. He is able to block out here, but without having a Muzan on the board, there's not really a lot of pressure he can you know, put on this turn. I don't believe so. He's already used 2 of the kill spells, maybe 3. Haven't been able to keep up with him that much, but very unfortunate here not being able to see some of those cards. Having to trash the Akaza, also not a great play for him. It's unfortunate to be in this position, but you know, you really only want to get down to the one Muzan. He does have one that he can play from his hand, is able to go into the Muzan's blood to be able to, you know, go into this Enmu play, lets him, you know, draw cards, trash cards, fill up cards in his trash, and he is able to put out one of the bodies. Probably not going to be able to swing here. He does have the Enmu, so the Enmu is definitely buffed at this point, right? The Enmu is a great card in the deck, but you want to see them earlier than this. That way you can cycle out cards. Wow, choosing to blow up one of his bodies here. Very interesting play to do that. He may just choose to switch out who he's blowing up. That way he can pop one of his opponent's characters. But still going to be in a tough spot on this crackback turn. Just to get trigger in hand there. Swinging with the Enmu for 45. Nothing in life to save him there. But in a tough position now with only 2 life. The Blue JJK player definitely has a better board presence with the Yuji and the Sukuna. Is just going to play out the Nobara down. And then play out another Nobara. I thought that that double energy Nobara was the one that makes you bounce one back to hand. I could be wrong on that one. But that's okay. I think he has the game anyways, but I think that that one bounces. I could be wrong. There are so many cards in the Blue JJK deck that do different effects, but she might just be the double energy, do something else. The Muzan player finally gets down one of these Muzans. It's just a little late in the game to be able to do that. It will be a 5k blocker on his opponent's turn, but without having another body up on the board to be able to save him another swing, he's going to be in a bad spot. He doesn't have any more action points to play. He's only going to have 3 blockers. The Blue JJK player next turn can just swing out with his bodies by moving up the Nobara and have enough bodies to put damage on the board from him. Not sure how he was able to play that character out through there. But the Blue JJK player is able to block out. Should be able just to move up some characters here. Is going to choose to draw a card. The Sukunas are 4k, but maybe he has a chance here on the Muzan side of the board. He does have the 5k blocker. The Enmu, I believe, does keep the 45 boost during both players' turn. Is going to move up one of his Nobaras and then play the draw one, trash one Nobara. We see that he has the Yuji in his hand. He's just going to go with the Gojo on the board. Going to swing through with the Sukuna, able to block 2 of these hits and able to block out. So, wow, he is in a position maybe to win this game then. A nice comeback, a nice way to wow out your opponent here. I really thought that this game was over a little bit sooner than this, but he is able to get into a spot where now he is able to threaten lethal with this Muzan on the board. Such a strong card. If you can get to the Muzan, you really can find a way to, you know, push for game. He's able to see the Muzan's blood, which is going to let him get the action points back, going to use the card to kill one of the characters on the board, able to see another 0 drop, just going to swing in with one of the Muzans, going to swing in with the Enmu here. Just going to have to be forced to block out. Is going to do the Muzan first with the 2 triggers, and oh, no. He has the color trigger bounce Yuji in his hand, and that is very unfortunate for him because I think that if he would have swung the other way around with the Muzan last, you guarantee yourself the Muzan can't be bounced by that effect because I think it only hits a 2500 or lower character. So a little mistake in sequencing his attacks there. He would have had game with the Muzan as long as that last trigger is not a final trigger. So very unfortunate. We see the Blue JJK player just deciding to move up, play a Yuji in the back, and then able to draw one, trash one with this Nobara. Going to raid into the Yuji, able to bounce a character back to his hand, and he is ecstatic here knowing that he probably has game unless there is a final trigger in this life, and there is not. So a really nice, you know, back and forth. I do think that the, you know, Muzan player did not see his stuff early, but good game regardless. In game 2, we have a different Blue JJK player, and then we do have the Suzaku green codegeass on the right hand side. The Blue JJK is just going to start off with a 0 drop Yuji. Suzaku is going to drop down the Britannian soldiers, I believe that's that card, a 0 drop, and then also a Cornelia as its other 0 drop. A lot of people are torn between the blue decks, or the green decks. Able to start with a finger here for the Blue JJK player side, which is super awesome, being able to see the cycle. You get the free draw, you get to, you know, cycle a card, but unfortunate he's not able to play another body. Very big miss here on his curves, and now Suzaku just gets to move up with the Britannia, is able to play down some energy, and he should be set up to go maybe into a mech the next turn. Blue JJK just dropping down some energy generators here, is going to use the domain expansion to go back up to 2. Hopefully he can go into a Yuji or something here to be able to mess with the board. Just going to go into the finger for the free cycle, is going to drop down another Yuji, and he is set up energy wise. He's set up, he saw the fingers early, and this is one of the most consistent, strongest things about Blue JJK is that these Sukuna fingers are just, you know, free cycle in the deck. They don't cost you any action point. You just rest one of your characters, and it's free cycle, and that's why the deck does so well. Able to go into the Yuji to bounce one of the characters back to the hand. And now Suzaku is on the back foot. He does choose to move up one of the characters to give his other characters protection, but not going to move everything else up. Just going to play the draw Suzaku and another Britannia soldier on the back line. He does have 1 action point left. Maybe choosing to not play anything here so that way he doesn't, you know, risk losing another body. But I do think you need to play another blocker up to the front line. Even if it gets bounced, you have to make your opponent, you know, use some of these effects. So going to go with the live though to progress the state of his turn. I think it's hard for me to see, but I think he's only sitting at the 5 energy, but he is just going to play over the mech. Oh, okay. See, he needed to get to the 6 energy, and he was able to do so by, you know, getting rid of that other body. It does get removed from play, but he is able to go into the mech, which is awesome for him. Gets the double swing in. Unfortunate to see another finger in there. Is going to play out the Yuji and a Nobara to draw 1, trash 1, get some more cycle. But he is dealing with a big mech on the board. That mech is the boosted by 1,000, I think, at this point, right? That one keeps the boost for 1 turn to stay at the 5k for 1 turn. It does not have the impact, unfortunate though, but these cards in Suzaku are really, really strong. Just going to see the cycle. Maybe he's able to go into a Sukuna here to tap down that mech. And just another Yuji, which is perfectly fine, right? Because now he gets the Euphemia off the board. Is able to stop one of these attacks, but is just going to see, unfortunate to see that final trigger there as one of the checks. The Yuji is going to go through, and another no trigger in life. We are evened up at 4 life here altogether. Suzaku is going to move up the Cornelia, play one of the double energy generators, play his Euphemia, and play the Varus, so that way he can pop one of these bodies. Just going to kill one of the Yujis here, I imagine. He could go for the Nabaro here, actually. That might not be a bad play, or the Nanami here, because if you get rid of the Nanami, then he's not able to raid over it, and then that body just stays on the board, and, you know, he may not have the play to see another Nanami in the deck, but he is going to choose to forgo that and take out one of the 4K bodies, and then the other Yuji can just block out. We'll see if he's punished by leaving the Nanami on the board here for him to raid into, because he doesn't have one on the back line, right? So that's one thing to think about in the games. When people are rated on top of their characters, then now they don't have another outlet to raid again, right? So with that Nanami being on the board, the Nanami, if he can find it in his hand, should be live to raid into. Is going to tap one to draw a card, but does see another domain expansion to go back up to the 3. Is going to play the Yuji here, is going to raid into the Sukuna, letting him draw the cards and trash one to cycle through. Is dealing with the blockers. It's 3-on-3 out here. He does have 1 action point up, and he is at 4 energy, so if he wanted to push the state of the game into another Yuji or Nanami, he definitely could. He sees is that all 4 domain expansions? This is crazy. He's played, he's just gotten free turns after free turns. This is wild. Is going with the Nanami coming down, able to cycle some cards and draw some more cards. Should be able to block out a couple of these. Does see the Suzaku here thinking about who he wants to do the boost on, and he does get to stand back of his mech, so he doesn't take another shot of damage. So a very fortunate check there for him. Is going to have to draw a card here. Is not at the 8 energy at the moment, but is going to you know, raid on top of the Cornelia. I do love this mech in the deck because it gives you a free body, it gives you a free raid target, and he is able to use that body to go into the 6K mech, thinking that he may have game here, but he is going to be able to block out on this turn. He has 3 checks left. The fortunate thing about those mechs is they do not have the impact, right? So he can just block the mechs out and not have to worry about taking all this damage. Another finger in live here, giving him a draw, and he is at, I think, 3, which is, you know, absolutely insane. He's seen so many fingers and so many domain expansions. It's just free draw, free extra plays in the deck. The synergy in this deck is so strong. That's why we see Blue JJK always doing so well in every tournament. He does have to answer this board, so is going to go down onto the Yuji and then raid into the Sukuna to be able to draw the cards and trash ones. That way he can cycle a little bit more. Still is only at the 3 fingers here, but he really doesn't care, right? Like, he got a raid body out. Not being able to progress past the 3 fingers is not the end of the world. He does have 1 more action point left. Choosing to count his deck, and that can only mean, you know, one thing. He's trying to figure out if the Nanami is finally online, and I think that it is if he goes into it here. Not going to do so, though, just going into the Maki. Maybe he was a couple short. So playing the Maki on the back line, is going to, you know, swing in here. Just going to get the draw trigger or add to hand. Another final trigger, so his were all in life. So he was not able to see those in his hand, and that explains why he hasn't seen any of those. We saw 2 or 3 of them in life for him. Very frustrating on the side of the Suzaku player for sure, not seeing those cards. He is stuck at the 6 energy. I don't think that there's a lot he could do here unless he has another double energy generator in his hand, and he can go into the 8-drop mech. Seeing his frustration here, you can tell that he probably does not have that play, and if he doesn't have a Varus in his hand, I think that spells for game for sure. But let's see what he tries to do here. Going to think about it, not seeing them in the trash, going to tap an action point to play the Cornelia, and then just going to play out another blocker here. You definitely have to block out of the double damage here. He's going to take 1 hit. It is going to be the color trigger. Nanami in life to bounce the card back, so now he can't even block out, and that spells for game, and he scoops. Really frustrating to go against Sukuna when they do ball out like that, but here we are. We have Blue JJK player in the finals, and we also have a Hashira player in the finals. I have definitely slept on the Hashiras when they first came out, and the deck has proven me wrong, and it is definitely a very strong toolbox deck in the game for sure. Just going to see a 0 drop on the side of the Hashira player. He's just probably explaining here what the cards do. This player's deck is absolutely blinged out. You'll have to check my channel. I did do a short clip highlighting all the rarities he has. This deck, I think he has like 20 something alt arts in it. So I'm not going to be able to tell what some of the cards are just from the alt arts, making it a little hard. But we do see the 0 drop coming down, and 2 0 drops, sorry, on the end of the Blue JJK player. So curving out his mana nicely, we are going to see 2 0 drops from the side of the Hashira, and gets in the free swing. Oh my god. Really unfortunate to see the kill spell in life that early. He would have been able to apply a lot of pressure with that Hashira on the board as well. Just going to see 1 free swing now cracked back at him. Nothing in trigger for the Hashira player. Energy line is looking healthy for the Blue JJK player, so I think as the Hashira player, you're going to have to put something on the board or build up your own energy line, right? Because the Blue JJK, it's so fast and consistent because you only ever need 4 or 5 energy max, and all your plays are online, and you get all this free cycle and draw. Definitely going to be a key turn here for the Hashira player. I would imagine the one key play you could maybe try to do is add the energy and be able to play out one of the Hashiras that, you know, can't be sidelined, but he is going to go into both of the boys up front to give himself a chance to, you know, wall out some of these attacks that are sure to come his way on this turn. We do see 1 finger in the trash at the moment. He's going to move up one of the Gojos. Going to tap 1 to play the Yuji. Probably going to tap another one here to go in a Sukuna or Yuji. He's going to go into the Nanami early. Nice. He was not able to see the Nanami earlier in the game. Does get to go into a Maki to draw 1, trash 1. Going to trash the Sukuna. Maybe looking to apply a little early pressure here. Going to take this hit. Just a draw trigger in life. And that's going to pass because the other dudes can wall out the small bodies. So not the worst turn there to take as the Hashira player. It definitely could have been a lot worse for him. A pretty, you know, docile turn by the Blue JJK player. Maybe choosing not to activate any of his raise to bounce cards because he's probably waiting for some bigger opportunity opponents here. Just asking what the cards do. This character does get the boost depending on how many it has. I think it just needs 3 or more other. So even though the names are the same, I don't think that inhibits the boost for him on his turn. Did have to tap 1 to draw a card, which is unfortunate. Let's see if he can play down one of the big drops. Does see the Love Hashira. Is going to progress the state of his games with the concentration breathing. And there we go. We do get to see the Love Hashira that lets him pop the Nanami, which is... Maybe you don't pick the Nanami here because the Nanami is going to tap one of your bodies and he's going to choose the big one. Most likely, but... Maybe not wanting to have to block through that 4K is why he didn't want to not take out one of the other bodies, right? Which it makes sense if that's the case. And very nice here, being able to see the Sukuna in life, which is going to let him get the free raid to draw cards. This is an absolutely insane start for him in life with that special trigger and now a Sukuna on board. So he wasted his turn there. I say wasted, but used his turn there to clear one of the 4K bodies, and now he's just answered with another 4K body on the board. So definitely not going the way of the plays that he would like for them to happen. Just reading the cards, I don't think the Love Hashira does anything when she's out now. Only the 2 other guys do things. Is just going to play the Nanami on the back line, giving him back to the 4 energy that he's going to need to do any bigger plays in this game. Going to Divergent Fist or the Nanami kill spell to put the character on the bottom. Gonna play a Maki to draw 1 and trash 1. Gets to swing in with the Sukuna here. Gonna have to take this one. Gonna give him the active trigger, and that just makes the Blue JJK player have to pass turn. Looking like the Hashira player is deciding if they want to move up or not. Did he tap 1 to draw a card, or did he just leave that action point untapped back there? I don't think so. Maybe he did tap 1 to draw 1. He's just using the Love Hashira's effect to boost her. Is going to swing through with the other Hashiras. she is boost. You know, you pay the 1 AP and then you get to swing in and force your opponent to have to either give you some bodies or take this life. But in the Blue JJK deck, you have so many triggers, and here we go. We see another one going to his hand, so he is going to be able to pop off next turn in this game. But a good answer for the Hashira player, definitely not the way that you want to do things. You don't want to have to move up these love Hashiras that early and potentially mess up your energy line, but he had to apply some pressure in this game. At the moment, he's getting outpaced by the Blue JJK player, so he had to answer with something of his own. Is going to go into the Nanami to let him, you know, trash the cards to draw cards, which is going to fix his hand here. We see the domain expansion now coming online to progress this turn. He has enough energy to raid into any character that he wants to, but another special to play out. Oh, that hurts to see that for sure. Getting to play the 1 for free and the 2 to answer the board. Seeing all the outs on his side. Very unfortunate for the Hashira player. I'm not sure what he does against this board now. Like, he doesn't have a ton of energy. He's going to have to waste some turns to draw a card. He does see one of the key cards, seeing the Poison Hashira here, and is just going to choose to boost up the Love Hashiras here and try to make this go to game. And another amazing trigger in life here, and he's shaking his head because he knows it too, that this is clearly a trigger the way that this player is thinking about it. I'm going to set the card to the side, trying to think about if he wants to raid onto this character or not. I think that you do, right? There's no reason not to just raid onto him. It's just a free raid. You'll have a big body, but probably just deciding if he wants to get rid of the 2 action point drop that he played on the turn, or you could raid onto the Nanami in the back and just get rid of the Maki that you have up front, right? I think that's what he does here. Yep, going to go into this one. Now he gets to block out for free and gets to trash the cards with the Nanami and helps him cycle his deck. Definitely fortunate in the life here of the Blue JJK player. Definitely helped him out a ton in this game, but that is part of Union Arena. Sometimes you are going to be fortunate enough to have life go your way, and other times it'll be against you. And I think that that's why the Hashira player here is just shaking his head upset about it, because in some games like this in Union Arena, you really feel like it doesn't really matter what you do. If you hit a couple special triggers and crazy raids, even if you play a lot of things perfectly, it could just, you know, spell the end of you of your opponent getting this free advantage. But definitely is counting his life or his deck here now, because he's thinking about, you know, what he has. Able to swing in here. No trigger on this character. It's going to take a special trigger and a final to keep it into this, but not even blocking out, seeing the writing on the wall there in this game. So good plays by both of these players. I do think that the Hashira deck is in an awesome spot. We have seen, you know, it get into the finals at our locals. I have seen the list, you know, topping in a lot of these tournaments too. But kudos to both of these players for making it into our finals. Blue JJK does win the day. It is such a strong, powerful deck, and it shows why here. Please leave this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about these kind of videos. Peace.